Hey everyone, all right, we're going to do the motherlode of Aerosmith. Back when I was going to do album review 300, so this has been put off for 300 reviews, I was going to cover the Pandora's box set along with the Big Ones album as a big package. Somewhere when I moved houses, just after I moved into this house, when I was gearing up doing album reviews and whatnot, and I had this one planned, and I put everything to the side, my box for Pandora's box went missing. Now, the only thing I'm missing out of that is the booklet, and the booklet goes through and basically gives you a nice little history of the band and gives you a good rundown on all the songs. And it's the rundown on all the songs that's important, because it tells you, what the band remembers about the songs, stuff like that, or, the fact that the band does not remember certain songs. The Pandora's box set. Let's start. But because I've had to wait so long, I'm going to expand. And instead of just doing Pandora's box and Big Ones, I'm also going to throw in the original Aerosmith Greatest Hits album. And we're going to talk about Aerosmith Gold as well, because they all kind of get into some different time periods and some different stuff. So let's get into this here. All right. Pandora's box. My dad bought this for me for Christmas one year. This is a great box set. I have bought this box set for one of my friends over the years who was a huge Aerosmith fan. And this box set has everything you can want as a casual Aerosmith fan and then some. And as a hardcore Aerosmith fan, it's got a lot of stuff on here too. Most of this is combinations of greatest hits and in some cases like almost full albums represented on here that made up Aerosmith's early years, the early 70s. I think the 70s going into the early 80s, because there is a couple tracks on here that made it to 81, I think. That's the problem with not having the book. I don't know 100% for sure. I know there's a couple tracks on here that are definitely post Steve Perry leaving, and I think one or two after he came back, actually. Okay, and I am sorry because I don't have it on here. I don't have the book with me. I can't break it down which songs are off of which albums entirely, and I do apologize for that. But I want to get into these tracks. So, and I'm going to be going off of what I do remember. And I've read the book a few times over the years, but not recently, obviously. I haven't read it in like 5 years. So, When I Needed You and Make It. Those were early songs, I believe were before Aerosmith. Both are really good tunes. I obviously had never heard it before I heard this. When I Needed You, not a song I go on to get into so much these days, but Make It, yeah. These songs have definitely that early Rolling Stones influence in them. You can totally hear it. And it's definitely the Stones, might be the Yardbirds as well, but definitely the Stones. Moving Out, One Way Street, On the Road Again. These feel pretty Aerosmithy, that early Aerosmith, kind of that boogie woogie, kind of got that big band kind of vibe going on. Yeah, have to take a sip, sorry. All right. And then we hit one of my all-time favorite Aerosmith songs. A song that to this day I still absolutely love and is one of the few Aerosmith songs I will always go out of my way to listen to, and that is Mama Kin. When I ain't easy living like a gypsy, tell your mama how I've been. Oh, man. This is such a good tune, man. It is so fast, such a great boogie woogie to it. And the fact that it clocks in at 425 is impressive, especially for back in the day. But you wouldn't think that, man. It's got such great energy and pacing on it that it really feels like it should be only about 3.5 minutes or so. We move on to Same Old Song and Dance, which is another banger I absolutely love. Train Kept a Rolling, man. That song, that's one that's got an interesting history because everybody always thinks about is Aerosmith's big blues songs, the one where it rips out with the big solo on it, blah, 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 blah. And on the album, it's Dick Wagner. Possibly Steve Hunter as well, but definitely Dick Wagner. Seasons of Withers, another cool tune on there. Write Me a Letter. There's one that, not a bad tune, but one that doesn't do much for me. Then we hit the original version of Dream On. The Pandora's Box title track, Pandora's Box. I love Pandora's Box. That's such a good tune, man. I had never heard it prior to getting this box set. And after I got this box set, I listened to it constantly. Like, it was on like half the mixtapes I made for like 2-3 years after this. Rattlesnake Shake. This one does very little for me. Not a big fan of it. And I believe I'm not, I really wish I had a good reason. I would have said that like this version of it, they were strung out beyond belief when they did this one, because it doesn't feel tight at all. It feels loose and messy and just doesn't work for me. Then you get to Walking the Dog, which isn't a bad tune. Always dug that one. And Lord of the Thighs. Lord of the Thighs, I actually didn't get into until later on. When I was a teenager, the song really didn't do much for me. Now, when you get into disc 2 is a lot more of the quote-unquote popular Aerosmith. A lot of these I can rattle off real fast and be like, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one, yeah. All right, so you got like Toys in the Attic, Round and Round, Crowwitham. This is actually an instrumental jam. It's Kramer, Whitford, and Hamilton. Perry and Tyler were missing like usual. The guys were in the studio and they were jamming, and this is what they came out with, and it is a really good instrumental track. You See Me Crying, Sweet Emotion, No More, No More, Walk This Way, I Want to Know Why, Big 10-inch. Like, they're all just bangers at this point, right? Rats in the Cellar, Last Child, All Your Love. This would be a Joe Perry tune, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but vocally, I want to say maybe, or no, maybe it is Steven. No, I think it is Steven. Either way, though, not a tune I was overly huge on. Soul Saver is a cute little 53-second kind of little thing. Nobody's Fault, great tune. Lickin' and Promise, not a bad tune. Adam's Apple is a good tune. Draw the Line, I love Draw the Line. Critical Mass, another good tune, man. So basically, I used to put this disc here, disc 2, has gotten more play than the other 2 discs put together over the years. Absolutely. Like from beginning to end, no ifs, ands, or buts. Disc 1 and disc 3 are usually I pick and choose certain songs to go with. So getting into disc 3, we got Kings and Queens, good tune. Milk Cow Blues. I have mixed feelings on that one. I Live in Connecticut, same thing. 3 Mile Smile, same thing. Let It Slide is pretty decent. I actually enjoy Let It Slide. I Don't Mind Cheesecake. Bone to Bone, Coney Island, Whitefish Boy. That one is a good tune, man. That is a really good tune. A little bit gross if you understand the subject matter, but good tune. No Surprise, not bad. Come Together. This would be the legendary version that we all know from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band featuring the Bee Gees. Only good thing, as far as I'm concerned, in all my years, I can say that came out of that movie was this cover song. Downtown Charlie, not a bad tune. Sharpshooter's a pretty fun tune to listen to. Shithouse Shuffle, cute little 35-minute guitar diddly. I enjoy that one. South Station Blues isn't bad. I really wish I had the book here because there are details about these songs I'd like to give a little more detail on, but I don't remember 100%. Riff and Roll, all right. Jailbait's okay. Major Barbara, I never liked this song. I've never, ever liked this song, and I don't understand the fascination with it. Chip Away the Stone. I dig this tune, man. I really dig this tune. I think it's a great song. Helter Skelter. Oh my God. So one thing I distinctly remember in the book is no one remembers recording this version of Helter Skelter. No one remembers recording Helter Skelter at all. And this is blistering gangfire Helter Skelter, man. Like, I mean, they nail it. It sounds beautiful. For the longest time, it was one of my most listened to Aerosmith songs, man. Absolutely love their cover of Helter Skelter. They did such a good job. And then you got Back in the Saddle to finish everything off. Officially finish everything off. Back in the Saddle is actually my all-time favorite Aerosmith song. There are certain songs that are great breakup songs when you're a guy, and Back in the Saddle is one of them, man. Back in the Saddle is just a fantastic tune. There is a hidden track on the CDs that is not listed. It's an instrumental jam at the end that is really, really good. I have enjoyed it. I have put it on multiple mixtapes over the years. It's just got this great bluesy boogie woogie vibe to it. Just cherry. All right. So basically that covers, oops, I had No More Tears out because I just reviewed that one. No one and I recorded these together, right? All right. So this covered the Columbia years. Great collection. It works. If you don't want to go out and buy all the albums, go out and get this. I do know you can still find this used in a lot of places for like $40. $40 used for this is still a great deal. I think it was like maybe $60 brand new when it came out, maybe. And even at that price, totally worth it. Like, it was just absolutely fantastic collection. Have to suggest it to everybody. My only complaint about it would be none of the stuff was digitally remastered, but that was before digital remastering. So that would be the downside to it. And I don't know if any of that stuff is available for digital remastering now. Downside to accidents and stuff like that happening over time is losing those master tapes. I don't know if those master tapes exist or not. All right, that brings us on to big ones. Okay, so I bought this one because I was not a big fan of the Geffen years. Eventually, over time, I've picked up 2 of the Geffen albums. I have Permanent Vacation. I have Pump. My dad had was it the Eat the Rich album? I want to call it Eat the Rich. The album that Eat the Rich came off of anyways. It's been that long, I can't even remember the name of it anymore. My dad owned that album. There were some really good tunes on that album, but not enough that to this day I still really haven't felt the need to pick it up. But I've never found a used cheap copy of it. So that says a lot too, the fact that there's no used copies really floating around. Oh, Get a Grip. That was the name of the album, Get a Grip. And the fact that there's no real used copies of Get a Grip out there, that tells you that it had to have been, I guess, a half decent album. Oh. Or maybe they didn't do too many productions after the initial. I don't know. Okay, so let's get into this. All right. This is those 3 albums plus a couple new tracks. You got Walk on Water, which was a new track left over from these sessions. And I thought Walk on Water was a good track, man. I really enjoyed it. The video for it was fun when they came out with a video for it. It was simple, but it was fun. And I think it was a good way to start off this collection. Then you're gonna love it in Elevator, Ragdoll, What It Takes, Dude Looks Like a Lady, Janie's Got a Gun, Crying, Amazing. Then you get the next new track, Blind Man. Musically, it doesn't do much for me these days, but the video is hilarious as hell. The amount of constant childish symbolism in that video for masturbation is just absolutely unreal and hilarious. I just absolutely love it for that. Deuces Are Wild, The Other Side, crazy. Eat the Rich, Angel, Living on the Edge. Whole way around, I think Big Ones is a great collection, and it does save you having to go out and pick up the other albums. I will argue that Permanent Vacation is a good album, though, so it is worth getting Permanent Vacation. And weirdly, it feels like Permanent Vacation is the one that kind of gets... it's weird to say. There was actually a VHS that accompanied this with almost all the music videos. Or it might have been all the music videos. I don't remember. There might have even been more videos than there were. It didn't have the 2 new songs, though. That's right. It didn't have... I don't think it had Blind Man. It might have had Walk on Water, but I'm not sure. This was an era for Aerosmith where I really enjoyed the music videos. Thank you very much for introducing us to Alicia Silverstone. Never going to be upset with you guys just for that and that alone. Yeah, and I know it makes it sound all creepy now, but take into consideration that when these videos originally came out, I was younger than Alicia Silverstone, so it's not that creepy or dirty. Absolutely fun album. And when you pair these together, you get a really good collection. You really do. It covers everything a basic fan could want from Aerosmith from beginning up until the mid-90s. So you're pretty cool off that way. Now we're going to move on to some other stuff. Aerosmith Greatest Hits. Oof. Okay. The only reason to ever buy this album is for one cover song that's on it, because you'd be better off to buy this whole collection for the other song that was not previously available on here. Come Together, which I've already talked about, is on here, and this was the first way to get it until these came out. We'll just leave it at that. This has got Dream On, Same Old Song and Dance, Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way, Last Child, Back in the Saddle, Draw the Line, Kings and Queens, Come Together, and then it finishes with Remember Walking in the Sand, which I always thought was a lousy waste of space on here. And the version of Kings and Queens on here is a cut down rendition as well. This was originally released on vinyl, so it is vinyl length. As such, meh. Don't waste your time if you find it anywhere. It's not worth getting at all. This is the original Aerosmith Greatest Hits. It's just, to me, it's garbage when you have, you might find this for $5 and you might have to pay a total of, say, up to $50 for all of this. And I know at 10 times the price, it sounds ridiculous, but it's so much more worth the 10 times the price. It is. There's no other way to cover that one. All right. I need a second. Then we're going to get into the Aerosmith. Aerosmith Gold. Now, I got to say, Aerosmith's Greatest Hits and Aerosmith Gold, these came with Tracy when we got together. These are not albums I bought. Didn't need to buy them. As I've said already, I had all this, and that was, as far as I'm concerned, all I needed to cover that time period. I should mention, I do own Toys in the Attic, and I've owned a copy of Toys in the Attic for years. Like I've already mentioned, I own Permanent Vacation. I also own Pump. So I do own some albums that are there. And I later on got a copy of Draw the Line on vinyl, which I've reviewed even recently. And so they do come up, and I'm going to be honest, I probably will pick up Aerosmith albums over time, possibly, but not a huge thing on my list. As when it comes to Aerosmith, for the most part, I find that being a greatest, I really do like some other album cuts, but greatest hits tend to be where I sit for the most part. All right. No, I'm dragging on. Let's get in this 2 CD set. And they really pump these full 17 tracks on both. And there are some interesting mixes in here and interesting ones that they put in here. And I like that this is not just a greatest hits collection. It's actually like a best of. It is a best of and great album cuts as well. This also mostly represents the Geffen years because this was a Geffen release, but it does put in some old stuff for some live, using live and whatnot. So most of this is going to be, if you don't want to buy any of the Geffen years, this could be a good substitute. You got Let the Music Do the Talking, which I'm not a fan of. My Fist, Your Face, whatever. Shame on You. Then we get into Hearts Done Time, good tune. Ragdoll, of course. Dude Looks Like a Lady, yeah. Angel, Hangman Jury, good tune. I'm impressed they included that in there. Permanent Vacation, really good tune. Young Lust, another great tune. The Other Side, good tune. What It Takes, even though it's a love song, I really do enjoy What It Takes, man. It really is a good tune. Monkey on My Back, meh. Love in an Elevator, yeah. Janie's Got a Gun. That's one I really don't listen to much after all these years. Doesn't do anything for me. Wasn't big into it back in the day too. Like, I get it, and it is a really good song, and it's very powerful, but it just, yeah. Ain't Enough doesn't do much for me. Walk This Way, Run DMC Aerosmith version. That's right. It's the Run DMC version, which is really cool. Good way to sneak it in there. Eat the Rich, good tune. Love Me 2 Times. That was a surprise to have. Head First, Living on the Edge, acoustic version. That was kind of nice and impressive. Don't Stop, okay. Can't Stop Messin', yep. Amazing orchestral version. That was a bit of a surprise. Crying and Crazy, Shut Up and Dance, okay. Deuces Are Wild, nice. And then Walk on Water and Blind Man. So you could pick this up, get even more, and exclude big ones, which I've already talked about. Which, theoretically, if you're going to do it, I could argue now that I would replace big ones with this. Load up the 5-disc carousel, you're good all day for Aerosmith. Then you get Falling in Love Is Hard on the Knees live, Dream On live, Hole in My Soul live, and Sweet Emotion live. So the reason why I brought this in last, like I said, this came with Tracy, so I wanted to cover what I had first. So 100% ultimate suggestion. This collection. You're all set. You're all good to go. My only complaint about the Gold Series stuff is sometimes it sounds like they made copies of copies instead of copies off of originals. This one's not bad. I do enjoy this one. I thought this one was good. And thankfully, a lot of this stuff was already recorded in the digital age, but it's not necessarily digital quality. These are not remastered. I'm going to say it flat out. They're not remastered. The quality on here is still going to be classified as AAD. And that is going to be my biggest complaint for most of this. Because it messes up the levels as they're going through, because a lot of it starts off as AAD, and then by the time you get to the end, it should all be DDD, and because they want everything to kind of balance out the same, it doesn't quite work the same. Just my thoughts, my views. Anyways, folks, that was a lot of Aerosmith. This was number 600. 601 through 614 are all posted online already. They're already queued up. They're ready to go. I shot them a while ago. This is the last review I record before my wedding. The Alice Cooper album, which I mentioned, it will be the first album review I do when I come back at 615, album review number 615, which will be a little bit late for the album. You know, it'll work out to being about a month late. But I'm getting married. I got other things that are honestly just more important right now. I love you guys. I love all of you. I love all you people that watch, but I'm getting married to the woman I love, which she's more important than all of you because, you know, she makes all this possible. So, that being said, keep watching, stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff to come, and I'm going to make up for the big delay on Alice Cooper because I got a big Alice project I've been working on forever as well that I'm going to finally try and get done and released as well. Otherwise, folks, drop me a comment. Let me know down below what you think. Like button, subscribe button, bell for notifications. The couple links down below to check out as well. Peace, love, take care, and I'll see you on the other side. See you on the other side.